read many things this week, so let's talk about them. I finally finished this, probably finished it after I posted a video last week. It was pretty good. It did, like I mentioned in the last video I talked about this in, that I was hoping he would talk more about like trauma causing autoimmune issues, but he didn't really touch on that. But it's okay. It was good. It's different when I went to go like review. I don't review things on Goodreads, but I leave like my rating on there. It was so hard for me to give it a rating as a psychology book and not a rating as like how much I enjoyed it if it was a fantasy book, because if I was comparing it to how much I enjoy romantasy, it would be a 2. as the type of book it is, I would give it like a 4 out of 5. It was pretty interesting, but I think I prefer things that are more linear in timeline, and he sort of goes back and forth a little bit depending what the content of each chapter is, which is fine, but I think like this. But it's good. I actually referenced it in one of my discussion board posts I had to do for university this week, so it comes in handy. I look informed. I look like I do extra reading. So it helped me with criminology this week. And then my friend at work lent me so many books. I have this one back here. If you haven't read Wizard's First Rule, you should read it. I started reading it because I finished it. I read Wizard's First Rule because my auntie and uncle were talking to me about like their fantasy book recommendations from the 90s. And my auntie was like, you have to read Richard and Kalan, you have to read Richard and Kalan. She couldn't remember what the books were called, but she just like loved them. And so like we Googled it and we found out it was the Sword of Truth series. So I read Wizard's First Rule. I didn't even realize how big it was because I read it on Kindle, and it was really good. I really liked it, and I was talking about it with my friend at work the other day, and I said, oh, yeah, like you have to read Wizard's First Rule, like it's from the 90s, it's really good. And she was like, oh my god, I have all 13 of them. So she brought me in Stone of Tears, which is the second book. I didn't realize that they were all this size. They're fucking huge. But anyway, I will be starting this shortly. She also lent me these 3 books: Angel's Blood, Angel's Kiss, and Archangel's Kiss and Archangel's Consort. It's probably gonna be mirrored, I don't know. These were good. These must have been written in like the mid 2000s. I can just tell from the content. I'm pretty 2009. Yeah, that sounds about right. These remind me of like the angel and vampire books I read when I was a teenager, but like I obviously read young adult, and these are adult novels. But these are I really like these actually. They look quite thick, but because they're not tall, it's actually not that many pages in here. So each of them are about 320 pages. And so I've smashed each of these in a couple of hours. I liked this. I thought Archangel's Kiss was better, so I probably gave this one like a 4.25 and this one a 4.5. So if you like girly sort of, it's not so, there's a lot of plot, like there's always some sort of mystery they've got to solve about someone being bad each time, so there's a lot of plot actually, but they're really good, and it's got like hot angels and hot vampires. I like them. And the main character's not exceedingly annoying. In a lot of this is like an urban fantasy and paranormal romance. A lot of the female main characters in these books can be annoying. She is not too annoying. There are times she annoys me, but she's not too annoying. And when I get annoyed with a female main character, it's like because she's resisting the guy, and I'm like, he's hot, just date him, he's hot, what are you doing? So I read the first 2, and then I started the third. There's apparently 14 of these, so that was delightful to know. But I look forward to reading them all. I started this one last night, but I'm only 70 pages in. I wanted to get probably 100 or 200 in last night, but I just had absolutely no attention span. I also finished, before I read those, I finished A War of Two Queens, or The War of Two Queens by Jennifer Armentrout. Remember when I said in my first video that Jennifer has no right to be writing anything that's 625 pages long? It was okay. I'd probably say like 3.5, 3.75 maybe, and only because it got quite good at the very end. This was just, it did not have to be as long as it was. It was so nothing happened. I was like 70% through the book and I was like, I've been reading this for almost a week and nothing has happened. It was such a slog to get through. I'm pretty sure this was like, so the main character Poppy and her husband Castile, like they'd obviously been established in the first 3 books, and this one I think was to establish more so the relationship between Poppy and Kieran, because she was going to shoehorn Kieran in so that they're like sort of like a 3-way relationship, which is fine. I don't care in novels if they're like polyamorous or whatever, as long as it's not a love triangle where it's really a love arrow, where it's like 2 guys gunning for the same girl, a la Hunger Games, a la Twilight. I don't like 2 guys going for the same girl and she like has to pick between them. I'm not really interested in that. But if it's like 2 guys, if they're all in it together, I'm okay with it. So I was fine with Kieran like joining in, though she makes sure to clarify like, oh, but Poppy and Castile are like special, and Kieran like they're still in love, but it's something a bit different. I'm like, just make them all in love with each other. Give a fuck. But I think this book, because she decided she was gonna bring Kieran in, was mostly about putting enough justification between Poppy and Kieran to make it rational, because in all the books before this one, the only conversations Kieran and Poppy ever had was Poppy being like, I have a question, and Kieran being like, of course you do. So she had to make them have conversations that were not that in this book, so that it seemed more reasonable that he would jump in on their little and make a little triad. But the end was good, like the actual conflict and the bit at the end was good. Pretty much from when they actually freed Castile, it improved, but more so towards the very end bit in the final battle. And it's so annoying because something happens right at the very end and like this god is freed or whatever, and it makes me go, damn, I want to read the next book now because I want to know what happens with that guy. But I don't know if I would pick it up just because I don't think it's worth it. You know, I don't want to pick up another 600 and something page book in this series and then it not even be like, for most of the time, nothing to happen. But I don't know, maybe the next book would be better. I'm not really sure. I try not to read reviews before I read the book because I like to form my own opinions, and I don't want to go in with other people's opinions of a book really before I read it. But I might in this case read the Goodreads reviews before I read the 5th book, because I'm not sure if it's worth it. It doesn't matter anyway, it's not on like my immediate TBR, the 5th, because I have to read Stone of Tears, and then my other friend, she said she's going to give me like a bunch of books to read. So uni's been going okay, but I had the sudden realization yesterday when I was listening to my criminology lecture that the first assessment piece is due on the 10th of March and today is the 3rd. So I was like, ooh, it's only 300 words, so it's literally not going to be hard at all. But I was like, I wanted to go camping next weekend and now I don't know if I can. It'll depend what I can get done this week. I get like a half day from work on Tuesday so that I can have 4 hours of like study time in the afternoon. So I'll see what I can get done on Tuesday. But it's just annoying because I said to my friend, do you want to, really like 3 hours from where any beaches are, and I said to her, do you want to go to the beach? Which I never say. She loves the beach. I don't mind the beach. It's so far away that it's not really worth it to me. But, you know, she's been having a bit of a hard time. So I said, do you want to go to the beach next weekend? And, you know, we can go and get fish and chips and stuff. She was like, I would love to. I was already going to go camping down the beach that weekend with this other friend and we can all go together. And I was like, yes. I was actually like, you know what? I'm going to be excited for this. And then I realized I had an assessment due. So I haven't said anything to her yet because I'm just going to see. I think I should be able to manage it. It should be fine. I just need to not get too distracted in the afternoons. Speaking of distractions, I watched the new live action Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. TikTok seemed to know the minute I finished the show because it started showing me TikToks about Avatar, and people are so mean to the cast. Like, what the fuck? They were really, really good. People are so critical of the child actors. The child actors do a really good job. Of course, they're a little bit stiff sometimes, but nothing to pull you out of the story like the way they were stiff in M. Night Shyamalan's version. There's nothing like that. The kid who plays Aang is so cute. He's just adorable. It's like, oh my god, his skin is so smooth and he's got those beautiful eyebrows. I'm like, oh my god, if I was like 10 years old and watching this, I would have had the biggest crush on him as a kid. He's so cute. I really liked the girl who played Katara. I thought she's just so pretty, and I thought she was really, really sweet. Sokka was really good. He's a bit strange looking, but he was really good. I liked him. He had really, really good chemistry with, god, their names, I'm so bad with names. Suki, the Kyoshi warrior, I think her name is Suki. Fucking don't crucify me if I'm wrong. He had so much good chemistry with her that I was like, oh my god, how are they gonna set up for him to be with Yue? But that worked out really well as well. Yeah, Aang was really cute. The CGI was really, really good. The color grading was gorgeous. The costuming was pretty good. The only costuming I had a problem with was actually Yue's. I thought the costuming for Yue, and especially the wigs, in M. Night Shyamalan's version was a lot better than this one. But I think the actress did a great job. The only con was, even though she had a bad wig, the bad wig would have been okay if her costume wasn't so bulky up around the neck, because she had like this big hood that she wore down. If she hadn't had all the bulk from costume here and then this bulky, not excellent wig, she would have looked so much better. I could have made her look so much better. Or if she had just a nicer wig. It was kind of like, you know how in Game of Thrones, like, the Targaryen wigs are really good, and then in House of the Dragon, the Targaryen wigs are not as good for some reason. It was kind of like that. It's kind of like a Targaryen wig, but worse. I don't know how to describe it, but if you see the character, you'll see what I mean. The only reason she doesn't look quite right is just because it's the bulky wig with the bulky around the neck costume. I think you have to pick one or the other. They could have had a bulky neck costume and given her a thinner, nicer, more realistic looking wig, but if you're gonna pick the fake looking wig, you need a more tailored, minimalist around the head costume, especially when you have an actress who has a wider face. But she's so cute. I don't remember what else I've seen her in, but I've seen her else in something before and I really, really like her. Okay, but they're by far the best people in the whole show. Iroh and Zuko, like, were everything. Every time it was their scenes, I was like, god, I could watch a whole show just about these two. They were so good. The guy who played Zuko was he's fantastic. I don't care what anyone says. And the girl who played Azula, she's amazing. She was so amazing. I love her. I love her. And I love the girls who play her friends, like the girl who plays May. May is really cute. But people were so mean to them online. I was reading the comments in like a TikTok video from the girl who plays Azula, and everyone was like, oh, Azula's eaten too much McDonald's, and people are really mean to May, the girl who plays May, and calling her fat. And I'm like, these girls are not fat, and they're really, really cute. So what, they don't look like a 6 foot tall stick insect like in the animation. They did a really good job, and they're really, really cute. I like them. And Azula, she did such a good job. Like, you can just see her going like that shit. Oh my god, it was so, so good. I really loved it. I watched it in like one day. Yeah, I think I watched it in a day, or maybe I watched a bit on Saturday night and then I watched the rest on Sunday. It's really, really good. And so I was telling my friend yesterday, you have to watch ATLA, because I can't believe he hasn't watched it yet. And then he said to me, have you watched Shogun, which is on Disney Plus? And I said, no, I haven't, but it's Japanese, so I'll watch it. I started it last night. I won't think I'll watch it, but I'll watch it a lot more slowly. The torture porny elements of it I'm not really into. It reminds me of, and I loved Vikings, and this reminds me of like the Japanese equivalent, the feudal Japan equivalent of the Vikings television show. Very similar vibe. Yeah. And I love Vikings, but even watching Vikings, it took me a lot to get over the immorality, let's say, or the conflict with my morality. And I think it will be the same in Shogun. Oh my god. Just even the first episode, I was like, can we chill out? Can we chill? I know bad people existed, but I don't want to see it, actually. I actually don't want to see it. Just like, everyone's trying to commit seppuku all the time. Like, fuck me. It was obviously a thing, but I'm like, I don't want to know about it. I'm not interested in knowing about it. I posted this cup on my Instagram story the other day. I got it in like a set from T2, and it said, I'll try not to spill my thing. You won't be able to see it. I'm sure this is mirrored. It says on the inside, to be fond of dancing was a certain step towards falling in love, from Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. So like T2 at the end of last year had these beautiful sets where you get like a custom but especially designed mug, and you get a copy of one of the classic novels. I got the Pride and Prejudice one, which has a cover that matches this mug, and then you got a bunch of teas. So mine had New York breakfast, French Earl Grey, and green tea rose or something, and the packages that the tea bags come in look like Penguin classic book covers. So it's super cute. Anyway, so I posted on my Instagram story this mug and with the French Earl Grey box next to it, and my friend from work, he was like, where did you get that? I said, T2, but last year, and it was seasonal, so they probably don't sell them anymore. And the next day at work I saw him and he was like, I was looking all over the internet for them yesterday and they all said sold out. I said, yes, because it's seasonal. But he really, really wanted one. I was surprised. She's not... I won't say what I was about to say. But it was just surprising to me that he wanted one so bad. Let's just say that. My only other thing. So it was my tire last week. This week, it's my air conditioner. Where I live is cold most of the year, so the apartments here are really, really hot. Where I'm from, it's hot most of the year. So the houses typically have pools, they have air conditioners in every bedroom, otherwise you'll fucking die, and they have ceiling fans. The apartments here are not designed with any of those amenities in mind. I have one air conditioner unit in the living room, none in the bedrooms, which is extremely annoying, because even like, it's not just air conditioner, it does heating as well, and it gets really, really cold here, like below 0 Celsius cold here, and yet they don't even put a split system in the master bedroom so that you could heat your own bedroom. I have to instead put the heat or the cool on out here and pray it reaches around the corner and gets down to my bedroom, but that's beside the point. Anyway, summer has just ended here, yet we had a heat wave. Last week, well, this week was so freaking hot up until yesterday, so thank God it cooled down for the weekend, because every afternoon I couldn't even like do anything for uni because I was lying on the couch sweating to death with like putting ice packs all over my body because my air conditioner broke. I turned it on like Tuesday and Wednesday, I think. I turned it on in the afternoon. It turned on for like 5 seconds and then turned itself off. So I thought, oh, the breaker's gone out. Nothing wrong with the breaker. I checked the isolator outside. Nothing wrong with the isolator. So I turned them both off for a while. I'm like, well, I'll turn them back on and then turn the air conditioning on. Maybe it'll like hard reset it and it will work. Also changed the batteries in my remote, even though I knew it wasn't my remote, because the batteries needed to be changed anyway. Did that. I've attempted that now 3 or 4 times and it's broken. So I submitted a ticket to get a repair because the way I rent my property is different because of my job. And no one has come to fix it. And no one has called me to ask when they can come around to fix it, because I have a day next week. On Friday, I'm getting my car serviced. So I have to drop that off at 7:30 in the morning, which is when I normally start work. And some guy has been calling about coming to fix my balcony doors here because this whole apartment complex is so water damaged because it was built like shit. So he's like called me twice, and I've been at work both times he's called and missed the calls, about coming to inspect it. But I'm thinking, if I can get the same day I have to drop my car in, if I can get a contractor for the air conditioner and a contractor for the balcony doors to come out on the same day, I might be able to ask work if I can work from home. Maybe. They're so stingy with work from home days. So important that I be in my chair at work and I keep my chair warm. That being said, I also don't really have work that you are able to work from home for particular reasons, but there's some work I can do from home. But my main boss is away, and like the guy under him is in charge this week, and it's my main boss who's really stingy with work from home. So I'm hoping if I talk to the guy under him, who's super nice and doesn't give a shit about anything because he's quitting soon, I'm hoping if I ask him, he will grant me a work from home day. So I'm going to try and coordinate everything for next Friday. Anyway, at least I won't have to pay for the air conditioner. I love my rental agreement. Have a good week. See you next time, maybe. I wonder if I'll lose another 150 subscribers from posting another video like I had every week. But it makes sense. I knew that would happen when I started posting, because people would be like, who is this person? Why am I subscribed to it? Because I haven't posted in years. And I'm also not at all, these FaceTime-style vlog discussion things I'm doing are entirely different to the content I was making before I removed all my content on YouTube. So anyway, whatever. Goodbye.